Hey guys, welcome back to another War of the Visions video, and today I will be going over how exactly I prepare for selection quests and how exactly I go about building my teams for them, because I do think I have a pretty good track record with these selection quests, being that I usually clear them about 1 to 3 days after they're released, so pretty quick in my opinion. And yeah, I'll just be going over how exactly I prepare for them. So obviously, first step to this whole entire thing is what teams do I use? And that's really account dependent, because it really depends on how many shards you have for specific units. And as you can see here, I have Shell at LB4 because I don't have shards for LB5 Shell. And that's really all I can do because there aren't any SR or below units anymore besides Severo. No, that's not Severo. Oh my god, I forgot their name. Valade and Surges. So those are really the only SRs that there is for Ice. And yeah, usually SR units are relatively easy to obtain. So for example, the water selection class, which I am preparing for currently, as you can tell by the vision cards, they have 3 lower rated units that are really easy to build: Severo, Uni, and Zizan. And I'm not using Zizan just because I already have Ramada maxed out, so I'm not using Zizan. But Krace, she's not obtainable regularly. You'd have to obtain her from a quest, but they do give her out for free, and it's easy to max her. And then Tiro actually is being given out this week, and definitely take the opportunity to max him out. But for example, water selection class is really easy to prepare for. If you only have these 3 SR or MR below units, their shards are easily obtainable. And then Tiro is being given out for free, and then all you have left is to build Krace or Ramada, or you can build Raychess, the water selection quest unit, in order to fill up that 5th slot. And really, it's about not about how fast you clear it, but how well you build your team overall. And you can take as long as you want, and as long as you have a good team to take it on, you'll eventually clear it. So for me, one of the most important things for selection quests is definitely the Esper Resonance. Esper Resonance and equipment Proficiency. So as you can see here, I already have level 10 Esper Resonance with Golem, and level 10 Esper Resonance with Tetrasulfage, Shiva, Odin, and Diablos. And these are all maxed out because I did them over time, over the course of like 2-3 months. I just slowly farmed them. And for equipment proficiency, I just use skip tickets occasionally on story quests. And how I usually go about doing Esper Resonance is whenever I do EXP farming, I also farm EXP and Esper Resonance. So this is one of the teams I usually run. You can put like Black Rose Helena, Medina, or Sakura in here because they really have big AoEs, and you can take them into, like, for example, 2134. What quest is that? it is Fluctuating Fates, Part 2, Chapter 1, Scene 3, Battle 4. And by putting like 900 energy in here, you can just put this on auto repeat, and you can just continually farm very easily for Esper Resonance. And every resonance level is about 100 battles. So keep that in mind. I just remembered there's something wrong with Black Fez Helena here, because she doesn't use her LB. But yeah, as you can see, if you use like Medina or Sakura, they can clear that in one turn. So yeah, I just farm that whenever I can for EXP and Esper Resonance, and that's really it for that. And as for equipment proficiency, all you really need to do is make sure they're wearing a weapon, piece of armor, and piece of accessory, and then just use skip tickets as many as you like until they're equipment proficiency A. And you can also do this for character resonance, but for character resonance, it doesn't really matter as much to me. I usually just have it at 3 or 4, because the agility is nice for them when it comes to resonance, but it's not entirely necessary. So as you can see here, for my fire selection quest team, I only had the resonance at 3. So not really that important in that regard, but yeah. Okay, so obviously when it comes to equipment, equipment is very account dependent. As you can see here, I have Auguries' sword, which many of you probably don't have if you're new to the game. And I have like a +5 Shinra Bangle, +5 Ice Lance, +5 Prunus Lamina, and just a lot of +5 equipment. So obviously, if you're a casual player, you probably don't have many of these pieces of equipment, but that's okay. Is it really okay? I don't know. But just use the best possible equipment you can. For example, like an Excalibur or, I don't know, Ragnarok, Longsword. Just use the best possible equipment, because really, just because you have worst piece of equipment doesn't mean you aren't able to clear the selection quest. It's really up to you how you go out in clearing the quest. So yeah, that's really it about equipment personally. Eventually, when your account gets to that level, you will start getting better equipment to clear the quest though, so take as long as you want. Okay, so moving on to the amount of JP you need and job levels you'd want. Usually I go for about a JP level of about 60k. If you're really unsure of what abilities to max, then you can obviously go above 60k. If you're feeling a bit rough for the selection quest, but for job levels, I usually go for job level 12. And I've been doing this ever since the Camillo, the very first selection quest. So yeah, job level 12 is good enough. You don't need to take them to job level 15 to waste your mats. And obviously, you're already wasting your mats by awakening them to all the way, but it's definitely worth the investment because you do get those materials back gradually over time by clearing those selection quests. So yeah, so looking at Nasha, here I already have her at job level 12 for all, but I haven't spent her JP points yet. So obviously, since you have so little JP, it's about how you spend the JP wisely. So first, you want to really analyze what roles you're gonna want for your team. And since she has a white mage role, you might be thinking, oh, white mage, that's really good if I want a healer. But if you go down and look at the lead, he also has white mage, and he's more magic oriented, so you might want to leave the white mage role to the lead and not invest heavily in white mage Nasha. I was about to say Naya. And for Dragoon is definitely pretty good if you want different attack types, but Curry can also fill the role of Dragoon, and you already have a Piercer unit in Surges. But not only that, when you look at the abilities and really start looking at them, you want to look at these like hexagons, and if they have the fancy markings on them, that means the unit will always have that as their main ability. But if you look at Taunting Blade here, it doesn't have the markings here, meaning that it is locked behind the sub ability. And since Nasha is the only tank here for the ice selection quest units, you definitely want Taunting Blade in order to generate hate and perhaps tank up a lot of attacks. So already by looking at this, you already know you want Nasha as a sub-job paladin. So from there, you already know, oh, don't get regen, or don't get horizontal jump, don't get Curata, and yeah, just start saving JP by doing that. So Immortal Spirit, we definitely want that. Up next, we want that Luck, but we won't go for Dragon's Roar. Semi-Cross, why not? We want Dex. Ignore Protect. We want Dex here. And do we want Divine Grace? Maybe. And then we'll think about this HP up for a bit. Magic, because why not? For counter abilities, I'll probably go for Paladin's Guard. Here. Nope. Here. And here. And here. And is that it? Yes, that is it. So, let me look at the passives. Okay, we definitely want this. Okay. So, now we are left with about 56 JP to level all the skills, and when it comes to skills first, I always want to max out the passive and reaction abilities. So let's go ahead and do that. Now we have about 40k. And here is where I start looking at the abilities and what abilities do I need. So obviously, if you play Paladins, not the game, but the job, Saintly Wall is a must. Saintly Cross is okay, because you really aren't looking for damage from Paladins. Saintly Healing is a garbage skill. Blade Bash is actually pretty good, because it has stun as well. Some units in selection quests are weak to status ailments sometimes, and Blade Bash is really helpful. Sentinel, good. Divine Grace, garbage, and Taunting Blade, pretty good. So, obviously, when it comes to Paladin, you want to max out the defensive abilities first. So Saintly Wall, Sentinel maxed out. And then comes the main abilities, Taunting Blade, and then Blade Bash, and then Saintly Cross, pretty okay. And then for Divine Grace and Saintly Healing, you can just leave at 15, but since I think we have enough JP, I'll just go ahead and max it out. And is that it? Yeah, and that's it. So exactly like I said, 60k is good enough to really max out the abilities you need. Obviously, if you want to rework it a bit, say you want to bring in White Mage Nasha, you have to farm more JP, but if you plan out accordingly, you can go about fine with just 60k JP. Now, moving on to the vision card aspect of team building. Obviously, this is also an account dependent factor. You may not have some maxed out vision cards to your liking, but also me, since I am free to play, I do not have some vision cards maxed out myself, such as Clairvoyant Astrologer, which is a really good vision card for Armor Piercer, which is an amazing skill. But MR vision cards can also get you by. Definitely if you have Chimera maxed out, that is really good for a solo Shadow Links build for the Dark Selection quest. If you don't have Black Rose Helena, the vision card, you can also use Chocobo, and then if you don't have Ifrit maxed out, you can obviously use, where is it? Battle Love. And yeah, it's really how you adapt to how you use your vision cards. And obviously, when you're stuck on a selection quest, you don't have to stick to your initial vision card setup. You can obviously change it. Like for me, I'll probably change out this Golem vision card once I get in there, but for now, this is a good enough setup for me. And yeah, other than that, I think that's really it for how I prepare for selection quests. So hopefully my tips or whatever were helpful to you. Obviously, if you're on YouTube, you can always look up guides on how to clear them. But usually when I go in selection quests, I usually go in blind, and one of the most important things I look out for is status effects. And that's really it. Just status effects. The status effects are one of the key points to selection quests. And obviously, there are clear guides out there. I know Dr. Diggs does selection quests preparation guides sometimes, and there are clear videos besides mine out there. So obviously use your resources wisely. And yeah, hopefully this video was a bit helpful. Probably not as helpful since it's really everywhere when it comes to formatting. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.